live hosted radio on Hits, Club, Chill, Country, Uno, and Apple Music One. All commercial free.
Search tunein.com/Apple Music to start listening now.
The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox is an 8-episode Hulu original limited series that blends gripping pacing with emotional complexity, offering a dramatized look as it revisits the wrongful conviction of Amanda Knox for the tragic murder of Meredith Kircher and the relentless media storm that followed. The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox is now streaming only on Disney+.
Did you lock the front door?
Check.
Close the garage door?
Yep.
Installed window sensors, smoke sensors, and HD cameras with night vision?
No.
And you set up credit card transaction alerts, a secure VPN for a private connection, and continuous monitoring for our personal info on the dark web?
I'm looking into it.
Stress less about security. Choose security solutions from TELUS for peace of mind at home and online. Visit TELUS.com/total security to learn more. Conditions apply.
So when I was a kid, I was this chubby kid, and I feel like I was met with the message that, you're too big and you need to be doing something about it. It's something that you should just be able to say no and to cut back.
When Julia Belluz was a kid, she heard this kind of message all over the place.
It was a message I got in the pediatrician's office. It was a message I got at home. It was a message I got at school. And I kind of internalized that, and I thought, maybe I just, I don't have a strong enough will, or maybe there's something wrong in my biology. Maybe I have a slow metabolism.
She tried everything she could think of to speed up her metabolism. She went on all kinds of diets. She even tried some pills she got from a trainer at her local gym.
I was a teenager. I must have been like 15 or 16 years old, and I took these supplements, and I have no idea, God only knows what was in them, but I had this hope that these supplements might be something that helped me finally lose weight.
Did those supplements work?
No.
When Julia grew up, she became a health and science reporter. She actually used to do that reporting here at Vox. And she never stopped thinking about metabolism. This thing that was supposed to explain why some people have trouble losing weight and other people can eat as much as they want. This thing that felt unchangeable. But also this thing that, if you listen to what people say on TV, could be hacked.
Hey guys, so today I want to show you 3 easy yoga moves to start boosting up your metabolism.
Breathe out of your nose. Add a cup of sage leaf tea to your morning routine.
Plus chili peppers.
If you're craving that donut, go ahead and have it. Then let the white bean extract go to work.
Julia heard all this stuff, and it didn't seem to add up. It certainly didn't jive with her own experience. So she decided to write a book. It's called Food Intelligence. It comes out later this month. And in the book, she takes the mystery of metabolism head on.
I wanted to understand this process better. It was something I sort of took for granted. And I learned that there was a study where you spend 23 hours in something called the metabolism chamber. And I thought, okay, this is not only a way to finally understand what the hell metabolism is, but it's also a way to understand whether I indeed have this slow metabolism.
So to find out just how slow her metabolism was, Julia headed to the National Institutes of Health just outside of Washington, D.C. And she went into a chamber.
Basically, it's an 11 by 11 foot room. It looks like a hospital room. There was a toilet, a bed, an exercise bike. I got on the bike just to see what my energy burn looks like when I'm intentionally trying to burn off extra calories. I slept in this little room. It's 5:30 now, and I've just laid down to relax once again because we need to get a bunch of measurements of me just to see how much energy my body burns. Nothing again. I spent some time working on my laptop. Oh, and a nurse is here again. Hello. Oh, I was told to lay down with the rest periods. There were prescribed intervals of resting. But you want me to sit in a chair for this one? Okay, perfect.
The whole time Julia was there, she had to follow these really specific instructions. Rest, bike, sleep, eat. And eating was particularly complicated because the chamber was completely airtight.
Lunch just arrived through this plastic portal in the wall where a nurse outside of the room puts my food in on one side, then closes the chamber door, and then I pick it up on the other side, and I was passing back any scraps I didn't eat. And the idea is that it won't change the air pressure in the room at all. Because what I learned in the chamber is the way that they measure metabolism is through measuring your breath. And this was a big surprise to me. I didn't realize they would be measuring my metabolism by measuring my breath.
After 23 hours in the chamber, Julia went home and she waited for the results. What all that air she'd been exhaling in the chamber was going to tell her about her metabolism and just how slow it really was.
But I got this phone call
from one of the researchers.
And he said, your metabolism is perfectly normal.
This phone call went against all the stories she'd been telling herself her whole life. Her metabolism wasn't slow. It was average.
My mind went to, well, then what the hell? Then what is the reason and what else is going on? I thought I understood metabolism, but I realized I didn't. And I really wanted to know, what is it? What is this really about?
I'm Noam Hassenfeld, and today on Unexplainable, why do we talk about metabolism so much when we talk about weight? Are these things actually that connected? And what is metabolism, anyway? Thousands of years before Julia went into that chamber, before we even coined the term metabolism, people already kind of intuitively understood that there was this fundamental connection between breath and body heat, and that life needs both of them. In Genesis, after God forms Adam from dirt, he breathes the breath of life into his nostrils, which is what makes him actually come alive. In the Hindu Upanishads, breath is directly connected with the idea of a life-sustaining energy. But it wasn't until the 1700s when modern scientists started trying to figure out exactly how these things, breath, body heat, and life,
So he's interested in, how is breath and body heat related? And he had this friend who was another nobleman named Segen, and he affixed a tube to his mouth to measure his inhalations and his exhalations, and he does what the people were doing to me in the chamber at NIH.
He tracks what Segen is doing and he matches it up with his breath because he wants to know if anything could make Segen's breathing change.
And the first big observation that Lavoisier makes is that his respiration, how much oxygen he's consuming, how much carbon dioxide he's letting out, it's changing after he eats, it's changing when he's resting, it's changing when he's pumping his foot on a pedal.
Lavoisier notices that when Segen is active, the air he's breathing out is different. But he doesn't really know what that means, or whether it says anything useful about how the body is working. So he designs another experiment.
He puts Segen in this rubber-coated suit that's sealed.
The suit goes one step further than the tube. It doesn't just trap Segen's breath, it traps the moisture and the heat coming from his body.
And he finds that the faster he's breathing, the more heat he's letting off.
So then he's like, okay, working out makes you breathe faster, makes you heat up. But what's actually making that happen? Why is Segen heating up? So Lavoisier does one last thing. He comes up with this new contraption called an ice calorimeter, which is basically a hollow chamber surrounded by ice.
And he puts a burning lump of charcoal in this calorimeter, and then he puts a live guinea pig in the calorimeter, and he finds out the proportion of melted ice to carbon dioxide released is the same in the burning charcoal as it is in the living guinea pig.
And he's like, oh, the guinea pig and the burning charcoal are both taking in oxygen and they're both giving off CO2. They're basically doing the same thing. Living bodies and burning charcoal, they're both powered by combustion. Ours is just a lot less explosive.
Time anyone is describing what we now know of as metabolism.
Lavoisier didn't get everything right. For one thing, he thought metabolism just happened in the lungs. Later on, other people thought it happened in muscles. But these days, we know metabolism is something that's happening in tens of trillions of cells all across our body. And not just when we're active. The vast majority of calories we burn every day, like 2/3 or more, are from our body just existing, sitting around, doing nothing. Exercise burns less than 1/4 of those calories for most people. Doesn't even come close.
One of the scientists that I spoke to in reporting this book, he says metabolism converts everything we eat into everything we are and everything we do. And I think that it's basically taking the food we eat and the air we breathe and turning them into energy and the building blocks of life.
So how did we get from metabolism is what creates the basic building blocks of life to weight loss?
So in World War I, people who were working manufacturing explosives used a chemical called DMP. And some researchers at Stanford noted that people were spontaneously losing weight.
Somehow this explosive was speeding up people's metabolisms. It was also causing them to vomit, to sweat profusely, to have fever.
But it also suggested that, you don't want to mess with this process that's so fundamental to life.
Definitely don't want to be taking DNP.
There's still people out there seeking DMP to speed up their metabolisms, and it's still as a teenager.
DNP taught us what dramatically speeds up. It could leave you blind or to learn about what might cause a metabolism to head in the other direction. Slow down.
I'd like to tell you about an experience that I had during World War II as a guinea pig in an experiment in
During the war, there was mass starvation happening, and researchers wanted to know the best way to feed people in order to bring them back to health.
We knew fairly well what a starved person looked like and what starvation did to the human body. But until this time, there had never been an opportunity to measure exactly what changes take place in the body under starvation conditions.
So a researcher took 36 students at the University of Minnesota, all conscientious, and essentially starved them for scientific purposes.
I was one of those conscientious objectors. And on February 12th, 1945, we began our 24 weeks of semi-starvation.
Over the next 6 months, the men barely ate.
I'd look in the mirror and see that my eyes looked hollow, cheeks were only a thin covering for the bones in my face, and my hair was getting thinner. If I tried to smile, it was just a grimace. I didn't feel like smiling in the first place.